too much. Had to catch it, and here comes the 9 again. The 17 of William Byron.
Pushing him a little further into the corner than William wanted. You saw the back of the car jumping around. Creed going the wrong way. This was not the start of the race he wanted either. Several of the cars that we just thought had so much speed in practice. Ryan Sieg, he's back to 10th. We thought he would be going towards the front. Several of them struggling.
Like sliding the front so bad.
Sliding the front so bad. That's the radio of the 18. So he's tight. Here's the 9 of Brandon Jones.
And he's a lap down, remember?
Yeah.
Came off pit road a little later.
Now for Jones, it's really to try to be the first car 1 lap down at the end of this stage to get his lap back. Currently it's Jones and Barry.
Now Creed under attack from William Byron in the 17.
Yeah, that's a replay.
Saw that pass.
Yeah, see that pushing right there into the tunnel.
Still out front, Allgaier being chased by Chandler Smith, Custer, Byron, and Hill all in the top 5. Join NASCAR's free rewards program, and you can start earning points that turn into member-only rewards. So you can trade those points in. And that 39 getting in front of Creed. Riding along with the Toyota onboard of Creed again after Creed started up front. He has dropped back and running in the 9th position now.
You see, he just does not have the grip that the guys he's racing with. They're able to drive in the corner further, use less brake, let the car roll, go to the throttle sooner. So Creed complaining about being free on entry and tight on exit. Big adjustment coming for this car. This track, Steve, is going to continue to change. Only 5 laps to go in this stage. It will continue to change throughout the day.
And I think that's why we're seeing such a shift from practice. First cars on the track today. It was cooler this morning. We saw Cup Series practice, a lot of laps. Track is definitely starting to take some rubber as we see Josh Berry smoke out the back of his car. He had pitted with a flat tire. It looks to me that the left rear is flat again. I was on pit road during qualifying, and it looked like I had a little bit of a left rear rub, which didn't shock me the way they run these cars very, very low. But it seems like that rub might have gotten worse because this is the second left side flat for the 15.
So unfortunate for Josh Berry and the 15 team. Berry was a lap down. Looks like he'll go more than that as Cole Custer gets by the 81. Custer up to second now. Let's listen into the 18 radio.
I don't know if I'm too low or what, but I am so tight. Like, I just slide the front tires everywhere. I'm sliding them right now, and I'm not even trying to.
All right, so too low. What he's saying is not balanced, not like the front tire, you know, we need to take wedge out or something. He's wondering if it's just on the splitter. You know, this splitter material is kind of weird. Think of it like a wax paper or a wax plywood. And when it sits on the racetrack, it just smears across the racetrack, and it takes the weight off the front tires, and you slide. And that's what he's wondering.
Well, Dale Jarrett and I were standing on pit road. Remember, he was on the pole. His car was right behind us, and it was sitting on the racetrack. The splitter was already, the left side of the splitter was touching the racetrack already, sitting on pit road, and his car was obviously the lowest. Others were low as well. His was the lowest. DJ looked at me and said, "How's that going to work?" And right now, it's not working very well.
Well, so I don't think you don't want to take the time to raise the front of the car, but if you drop the back, it pivots about the front tire, so it actually raises the splitter, if that makes sense. We'll see what they do. Maybe they think they're far enough off that they'll raise the hood and work on the front. You see right there, look at him just turn the wheel, Jeff, and wait.
Marty, how about Allgaier?
Rick, you and Steve and I were talking this morning. It's already warmer than we thought it would be, Steve, right here in Pocono today. To that point, Justin Allgaier plus 25 on the temperatures, and just a moment ago, plus 30. So they're a little concerned here. Jim Pullman told him a moment ago, we're going to pull some tape off the grill. That should cool us down and get us to where we need. But I guess, Steve, did the temperatures catch people off guard? And when you pull tape, how's that going to affect the handling of the car?
Well, I don't know if the temperatures caught them off guard or it's just a racetrack. If you're going to miss it, you want to miss it with a little extra tape. Tape has had so much value. It reduces drag and increases downforce. Rarely do you have things that are a win-win, but that's a win-win. The concern is engine temperature, so peel a little tape. As we see now, the 8 get to the inside of the 18. It'll take away a little front downforce and, you know, add a little bit of drag, but you have to have the engine cool enough.
It's funny how tape is the cheapest thing you can do to make a car go fast. There's nothing, there's no other trade-off like tape on the grill.
Every once in a while, Rick, you'll hear, I don't know, it just started turning, and you instantly grab your binoculars to make sure you haven't picked up a piece of trash. That magical front downforce.
It's the final lap of stage 1, with Allgaier having a 4-second lead over Cole Custer and Chandler Smith.
This Creed battle with Sam Maris for the final point that will be paid. So it's going to be a battle trying to hold that one off.
Top of your screen is the 7 of Allgaier. He'll make his way through turn 3 for the final time here in stage 1. Allgaier, he will get his 11th stage win this season. That's more than double any other driver. And that's his 4th Pocono stage win. So Allgaier, who has raced here the most at 8 races, with the best finish of 2nd, now wins stage 1. Everyone in the top 10 grabbing some points, with the exception of William Byron, as he runs full-time in the Cup Series. But Allgaier wins the stage. Custer, Chandler Smith. Pit road is open as Allgaier wins stage 1, and we'll see just how busy these crews get. Brandon Jones will get the free pass. He was 35th and the first car a lap down as they come to you now, Kim.
And snug is the word from Cole Custer, top left. Jonathan Toney, the crew chief, going to free him up just a little bit with some air pressure and chassis adjustment for fresh Goodyear tires, snow-coat fuel. As you see, Chandler Smith, top right, he said, I am losing time off one, waiting on the front end to turn. Also need more lateral, so Marty, they'll look for adjustment there. Another playoff point in the bank for Justin Allgaier. He said really good on the entry and exit of turns 1 and 3. Turn 2 just a little bit too tight. They pull that tape off to cool the car down. Meanwhile, William Byron in the 17 bottom right, he said, I'm at my limit for how much I can be tight in the center of the corner. Track bar and air pressure adjustment for the 17 group, Rick.
Pretty good race off pit road. Cole Custer is going to win it just in front of Allgaier. Riley Herbst with a good advancement on pit road, gaining 4 spots. That's how it looked coming across the line at the exit of pit road. See if we can dial up the driver of the 7.
All right, let's listen in, make sure.
Sorry, I was trying to get all we could there. Probably too early for that. Oh, you're good. Did I? Wiggle your wires again. I didn't get the guy in the 42 box, did I? No, he's good. I did for it, like hooked up right as I went by him and hung me left. So then I lifted to not hit him, and I screwed myself right there. Awesome stop, boys. It's great stop.
So you hear the 7, and those guys, we're going to talk to them, but first let's see what they're diagnosing. The pit stop looked good. He talks about leaving, I think, Jeff. Is that what you sounds like to you, that there's someone in the box in front of him, and maybe he has to go around, or the, I'm trying to see. It looked funny, because I thought the jack dropped like he was going to beat the 00 right here, and then he leaves. Oh, he goes around that tire carrier, and then it kind of right there spins the back of the car out a little bit, almost sidestep. That was pretty crazy looking.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about what they were talking about, but yes, that looked odd. Why don't you find out, Steve?
Let's see if we talk to him. Hey, Justin, it's Letarte and the guys in the booth. You got a copy?
What's up? Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Well, man, smooth first stage, looked great. We were listening on your radio. Looked like you had a little bit of issue kind of accelerating out of the box, but other than that, all sails up. How's everything feeling?
Back here. The most important thing on pit road, and I kind of hooked up at the wrong time and almost clipped the guy in the box in front of me, and obviously tried to not do that. So, you know, really, really proud of Jim Holman and the 17. I mean, the balance that we have right now is really good. I know that 00 that's right there in front of me, he's got a really good race car too. So we just got to manage the day well, do all the right things. Pace is definitely there, balance is there. Just managing the day is going to be most important. But proud effort that this team's put in, Hendrick Engine Shop, obviously, everybody at Chevrolet, and everybody at Junior Motorsports, really proud of the effort we're getting right now.
All right, thanks for taking the time, bud.
And Steve wisely got off the radio.
I don't want to give him the bad news.
NASCAR is about to give him some bad news that they had equipment interference on that pit stop, and so he'll have to serve that penalty.
I've heard of being Rick Allen, which is, you know, Rick calls somebody's going to win and they have a tire failure. This is the first Steve Letarte. It's the first time.
I'm a little surprised Steve didn't tell him.
All right, so I think we have a look at exactly what happened. So equipment interference means that your tire has basically interfered with others. I think that's a bit of a tough call for the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Take a look at this right front tire right here. So when it goes back to the wall, it's not, remember, it used to have uncontrolled tires, all those things. But in this situation, it rolls into the other pit box. I don't believe, well, if we back that up one time, I was looking at the gas man. So I can make an argument that it didn't involve the gas man, but if you watch this tire changer right here jump down, watch what he has to do. He has to change his track to the car because of that tire. He has, you know, it's in their box. So while I don't think it dramatically interfered, you don't get to pick whether you're completely in bounds or completely out of bounds. If you interfere with another pit stop, their tire left the 7's pit box. I thought it was the gas man. It didn't interfere with the gas man. It ended up sitting there, and then the tire changer, who would like to go out straight and make a nice, long left turn to the rear of the car, had to stutter step and go around the 7's tires. So by intent of the rule, I believe that is the right call from NASCAR. Let's listen into the 7.
Oh my God, bro. You're not going to believe this. What's that? Go. I'm just going to be quiet. We'll talk about it after the race, and I'll show it to you.
So that's the same frustration. And so the point is this. They're frustrated, as we see the Chules right here, because they don't believe that they really affected the pit stop. And I can see that argument because I believe the car in front of them were doing a relatively non-competitive pit stop, kind of walking through the motions. But the intent is, I believe it has to be refereed the same. It's your responsibility to keep your tires from interfering with other cars. Now, let's be clear. If the car in front of him wasn't pitting, then that tire can occupy that space, which is odd, but that's how the rule is written. Instead of these uncontrolled tires, they allow everyone to do their business until you interferes in the pit box. You see the coach looking at it. It's a tough call, and it's going to be an uphill battle. You see the frustration shaking the head for the pit coach.
What would be frustrating for me as the pit coach is what if the guy on the pit wall moved back a little bit to make it interference? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm a team, but we don't know.
But they have that whole box, so he can use any part of that box.
I understand, but it's look. I agree with Steve. You have to be consistent with the calls, and it's a tight call. It's a ball to strike kind of thing. There's no doubt that the tire is in there. So Steve's right. It's just I can understand the frustration of the pit crew, but there's no question. The tire's in there, and it is interfering with the tire changer.
So here's the thing. A man has his hand on it. So if we roll it forward, what I would be coaching is, look, get it. Like, paddle it back to us. He's kind of just holding it now. I know he's losing his balance, but that tire changer, without a doubt, he wants to come out and around his car, and he's forced to kind of go straight up. It definitely interfered with the path of that tire changer in that tire changer's pit box. By rule, that is a penalty. So now, you don't have to like it, but it's still a penalty.
So in all of this chaos of that pit road stuff, Jesse Love stayed out. So he is leading this race. Remember, he was on pit road at the caution before the stage in. He got some fuel. So he last pitted on lap 5, and he is going to be leading this race.
Getting ready for the restart. This extended aerial coverage of the Explorer, the Pocono Mountains 225, brought to you by Shady Rays. So Jesse Love on the outside, and the number 2, Cole Custer in the 0-0 on the inside. Riley Herbst trying to block there as Chandler Smith in the 81 works to the inside. 3 wide now for 3rd. William Byron takes the spot from that outside line. And the race for the lead still on. Here comes Custer on the inside.
Oh, big block by the 0-0, Rick. Block that 17's run. William Byron calmly gets back in line. But he'll remember that. If he has an opportunity, he's going to try to take that pass.
Big wiggle.
Yeah, Jesse Love on the right rear quarter panel with the 0-0 of Custer. That slowed the 0-0 down. Cole is clearly quicker, but if Jesse can stay right there, which he can't, Cole takes the spot. 17.
He may have a tire down. He had a problem through 2.
Hold up, check up, stay up. I can get you in right here.
Yeah, he was wiggling the car, seeing if he can get onto pit road here.
He could not. He could not get slowed up enough. He would have had to stop in front of everybody. That was a wise decision to keep going. It may not work out well for the race, but at least he didn't get wrecked.
He thinks he has a flat. So out front is Custer, then Jesse Love, Chandler Smith, Riley Herbst, Austin Hill. Sheldon Creed's made his way back up to 6th. Sam Mayer 7th. Allmendinger, Sammy Smith, and Taylor Gray are the top 10. Yellow caution. That could be debris and maybe a tire carcass or something off of the 17. And actually, he had a tire issue.
And actually a break for the 17, right? The fact that it come off. Now he can get to pit road, assuming no damage to the car, can stay in the lead lap. Steve, this is the 3rd car we have seen with a tire puncture right after a restart. And I don't know why, but but it's not a coincidence that we've seen 3 of them. If I'm driving the race car and I'm knowing this, I am staying in the groove of the racetrack. I am not swerving out of the groove. Marty, I'm staying in the groove to try to quit this from happening.
Jeff, William Byron's one question is, how can this happen? And he got no response from Greg Ives and the race team. So if this would have happened under green, Steve, their plan was just to change right side tires. But because that carcass came off and it got the caution, they're going to change 4 tires here. Massive break for William Byron and this team, because as slow as he was going, he would have definitely gone down a lap at that, making a pit stop there and even changing just right side tires, Rick.
Saw him wiggling through the tunnel turn in 2, and then the tire goes. They'll be back on track at noon for the second race there in Iowa. That's again on NBC. And then tomorrow on USA, countdown to green and Cup Series racing from here in Pocono. We'll be embedded with the 12 team and the 38 team of Ryan Blaney and Todd Gilliland in stage 2. All right, guys, from what we saw in practice and qualifying, do you see a favorite in tomorrow's race on the Cup side?
Yeah, Joe Gibbs racing 3 of the top 4 in qualifying, had good race pace, obviously good takeoff pace as well. I feel pretty good about that team.
What I saw is that there were a lot of cars that had overall decent speed, which is going to make an already very difficult race to call from on top of the pit box even more difficult. Because I just don't think you can say, oh, we're fast enough and not worry about strategy. You're going to have to stay creative.
William Byron will be in that race. Marty, what was going on with the 17 here?
Yeah, just checked in with Greg Ives to see what happened on the right rear tire, and there you see what is left of the right rear tire. After it went down, William Byron made contact with the wall with the right side as well. Greg told me he can find nothing wrong with the tire, and he's not sure to answer William Byron's question as to why that happened. But Byron did not lose a lap in the process, but he is shotgun on the field, but on the lead lap.
Long ways back, the free pass went to Josh Berry. He's still a lap down. He was multiple laps. He was 2 laps down. So Josh Berry will be just 1 lap down now.
And William Byron certainly did not want this to happen and started the back. But I got to tell you, when you're a Cup driver running Xfinity, you're not racing for points. It's fun. Like to go in the back and just be able to try to pass everybody and get yourself back up front. There's no pressure. You're here to have a good time. You're here to learn a little bit of something about the racetrack. But it's not the end of the day for those guys. It wouldn't surprise me one bit for them to pop up late in the race and be contending for this win.
A.J. Allmendinger in the Celsius on board, looking back at Sheldon Creed from the Toyota on board. Getting ready for the restart here, and this time Cole Custer will be in the 00 on the outside. Jesse Love will be on the inside in number 2.
Race really hasn't had a rhythm to it. We had that long run. Everybody came in, made adjustments to their cars, Steve. We don't know who made the best adjustments or not.
Well, we're going to have 10 to go in the stage when we take the green here, so you're not even going to get a rhythm here.
And Love decided to take that outside line behind Cole Custer, so that puts Chandler Smith on the front row on the inside. Austin Hill behind him.
I like that move for a driver on older tires.
We'll see how Jesse Love does. Again, he's in row 2. Cole Custer in row 1. Back through the restart zone. Austin Hill pushing the 81 of Chandler Smith. Can he push him past? Allmendinger gets out of line. Custer fighting back on the outside. They're side by side. Aggressive move by Austin Hill, takes second away. And Love has fallen back to 4th.
See Allmendinger right here underneath the 2, Jesse Love. But behind Jesse Love is a pusher trying to get him back by Allmendinger. Let's see if this works out for AJ. You talked about it, Steve. Sometimes making a pass here, attempting a pass, isn't the right thing to do because you lose momentum.
Still there, bumper.
That's a good example of it right there. And now Allmendinger needs to slide in here. Nope, can't do it. There's the one of Mayer. Mayer's going to push. Here comes Sieg. There you go. Allmendinger tried to make the pass, didn't make it happen, lost 6 spots.
Back to the gas quickly. Has the momentum. We'll see if he can clear 2 for 1.
2 of those 6 are right there. Get them back. There you go. Another example. It's just, this is a very unique racetrack. If you ever lose momentum on corner exit, the straights are so long, you will pay the price. They'll come flying from behind you.
Side by side through turn 1.
And this is the problem. What is that, 9 or 10 cars all lined up? So if you jump out of line and the pass doesn't work, you're going to lose spots like Jeff was saying. They all stay pretty organized.
Top 4 separated by 1.8 seconds. Custer, Chandler Smith, Austin Hill, and Riley Herbst.
Here comes Allmendinger trying to jump on the outside of Jesse Love. We saw this a while ago. Took 2 laps for Allmendinger to get back to the 2 car. Now no pressure from behind. So Even if it doesn't work out down this front stretch, he's not going to pay a penalty for it.
And that car all the way to the bottom, that's the 26 of Corey Heim. Won the truck race yesterday. As he slides, big wiggle up the racetrack. That's going to cost him momentum. That 26 is going to continue to fall. Mayer's going to come in. Oh, no, Mayer's going to come to his aid. Hand out the window, thanks for the push.
See, Mayer went to the bottom, and then when he did, the 8 jumped up on the outside. Now Mayer's in a tough spot in that one car. Look how loose he is. Sammy Smith in the 8 taking the air off the spoiler. Now, in my opinion, Sammy's in the preferred spot. That 8 car should be able to roll the middle of the corner. Now out accelerating down this long straightaway.
Josh Williams in the 11 falling back. 20 right trucks going by.
You have to complete these passes, and here comes the 7 trying to get back to the front. Wow, way loose there, Steve.
Yeah, big moment. Nice job by the 26 to even save the race car. And you see it right there in one shot, 12, 14 race cars. The 7, as you mentioned, making a move already. That's him. First car out of line, kind of at the right side of your screen. Allgaier continues to recover from that penalty. He's going to try to get inside the top 10 here with 6 to go. He's just inside the top 15 right now. Next car in front of him, the 48 of Parker Kligerman. That'll be for the 13th position. Marty.
Only is the 7 car moving forward with Justin Allgaier. How about William Byron? 15 spots since the restart. He has said 0 about the car. Trey Poole, who is actually Chase Elliott's spotter, is working with William Byron today, and all he's doing is saying clear and clear, and he gets another spot there from Jeff Burton. What did you say, Jeff? It's fun as a Cup Series regular to start at the back in an Xfinity Series field. I think William Byron's having fun right now.
Oh, yeah, that's some of the most fun you ever have. It's just a different level of focus and relaxation. Like when you go drive an Xfinity car, this is top-notch racing. It's super intense, but it's a step down from Cup. And you walk in there and it's just no pressure. And it's an advantage as a driver not having that pressure. If William Byron wrecks his car today, nobody's going to say a word about it. But if you're a young Xfinity driver, you're trying to make your way and you wreck it, you get criticized, you get blamed. Hey, we can't be doing that. It's just a completely different mindset.
Byron's on the top of the list here as we see the drivers that are on the move. Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. 17 spots for Byron, 14 for Allgaier. Sammy Smith in the 8, trying to get by Corey Heim and Jesse Love. Let's listen in to Cole Custer's radio, who has a 3.3-second lead.
I'll help you manage the gap here. 81's running P2 about 25-30 back. I'll try and stretch it so people can't short pit it. Yeah, that's good. Try to save us a little bit on your tire if you can here, though.
A lot to dissect there. So let's talk about stretch to short pit. That's the first conversation. And the point is, if he can pull off the front of this pack and gap these guys by over 10 seconds, they're not going to feel like they can come to pit road. The interesting thing is there's a bunch of guys just inside of 10 seconds, this whole group of cars. So you might see some cars pit coming to 3 to go right here. We'll see if anybody pits. I believe the 2 of Jesse Love's going to have to pit because he stayed out before, and I don't think he's going to be alone. There you go, the 2 and the 1. They're going to stop before the end of the stage. Both locked up tires coming to pit road.
But they better have perfect pit stops. It's very close. If they don't get it perfect here, Kim, they could get lapped.
That's right, Jeff, and you see the 2 of Jesse Love. He said, I'm too tight center to exit. This is going to be the first set of fresh Goodyear tires we're seeing on this machine today. You see the chassis adjustment to help that balance there for Jesse Love under green. Looks a little slow, Marty.
Marty Lindley and I talked about this exact scenario this morning, Kim, and they were close to that cut line from being able to pit here, but they were outside getting any stage points, so he brought him down pit road. Still too free for Sam Mayer. Let's see where he blends out and if he stays ahead of Cole Custer.
So I like the call because they'll get track position assuming you stay in the lead lap. Now here's the problem. They're back on the racetrack, but they're going so slow compared to that 00 right there. So they will blend for sure through turn 1. But remember, they still have to run these next 2 laps and stay in front of the 00. We'll see if Custer can make any ground on them as he goes through turn 1. I think they're going to be okay. The 2 is the closer car to the 00 than the 1. There's the 00. Yeah, I think both of those cars are going to be all right.
Fresher tires helps them out a little bit.
Yeah, fresher tires. Plus only 2 laps.
Yeah, and that puts a ton of pressure on the pit crews. They couldn't make a mistake. None of them made a big enough mistake to get themselves in trouble. Neither driver made a mistake getting on pit road. You have to be perfect in those situations.
And now if you're the 00, we're hearing that radio about either trying to gap those guys or save a little. What he's thinking about doing is if he can save a little gas and save a little tire, I don't think he's going to pit at the end of the stage. I think he's going to run into the next stage and then only pit one more time to finish the race. Kim.
And Steve, the interesting note on that strategy is after stage 1, when they saw Jesse Love stay out on old tires, Jonathan Toney, the crew chief for Cole Custer, made note of that, told his driver, Jesse was able to manage those older tires. Let's keep that in the back of our notebooks. And so on top of that, Cole being told to manage those tires to the end of this run, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it a one-stop race for the rest of these 51 laps in the Xfinity Series.
Think about that too, Rick. He started basically last. He stayed out and he pitted right there from 8th. So only fallen back to 8th. So interesting. Kind of pay attention, right? Watch what others are doing.
Cole Custer is out front by 4 seconds now. So if he's maintaining that gap, it's impressive. Chandler Smith is second. Hill, Herbst, and Sieg all top 5. You see Hill there. And it's going to be the 3rd stage win this year for Cole Custer. Second for him at Pocono. Chandler Smith, Hill, Herbst, and Ryan Sieg holding their spots in the top 5. A little bit further back will be Allmendinger, Creed, Sammy Smith, Corey Heim, and Justin Allgaier has worked his way back up inside. pit stops, and we know from our crew chief that there'll be a few that will stay out.
Yeah, I think this is a real split decision. You see right here, the 00 pit crew looks ready. I can make an argument to stay out and try to connect it on one more stop. I can make an argument to come, get some fresh tires, and try to be aggressive from here. It looks to me like the leaders are going to vote for fresh tires over track position. Kim.
And this was actually an audible by crew chief Jonathan Toney. They had intended to stay out, but then decided most of the field was probably going to come. They didn't want to be out by themselves, so Cole Custer, you see on pit road, 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco feel a little snug. Chandler Smith, top right there. Lateral grip is good, he said. Just need more front turn, Marty.
Andy Street told Austin Hill, pitting here just gives us way more options moving forward, even though we'll come pretty soon for our last stop of the day. Hill said his car was just way too free. He needs more to lean on. Meanwhile, Riley Herbst having another nice run. He said he's still free behind others, but he doesn't want a big adjustment. His biggest problem, he feels like he stalls out towards the end of a long straightaway. Herbst leads his pit stall. Looks like Custer will hold serve here on pit road, Rick.
Hill grabbing 2 spots. Chandler Smith stays there in second. Sheldon Creed made up 5 spots, and William Byron actually stayed out.
How do you take advantage of it?
A couple cars had issues on pit road, a safety violation for the 51 and the 35 for removing equipment. That could have been maybe a pizza warmer.
I like that. It's a
Domino's
nice,
pizza.
Yeah,
pizza
I like that. I like that. Look at that. Chad Knaus up there checking out his driver, William Byron, behind the wheel of the 17. Greg Eyes in front of him calling the shots.
It's a lot of talent.
Yeah,
man.
A lot of brain power right there. And again, William Byron stayed out on the racetrack. Last pit stop was lap 27. We've completed 44.
And he almost had, you remember he had that flat tire, so he's a set down to the field. So not only is this, as we see now, the pace car lights come back on, so we're not going green here. Now this is only begging a two-tire call more and more interesting, because now we're going to basically come around and complete lap 45. Remember, they can go 38 on fuel. We'll take the restart at 46. I mean, you're only looking at like 7 laps of racing now, 6 or 7 laps of racing until you can pit.
And you see William Byron taking advantage of that as quickly as he can? Will you see him on pit road after, say, 8 laps maybe?
Depends the restart.
Okay.
You know, if he gets a great restart and gets out there to lead, you know, I don't know if, you know, listen, it's 7 laps. The goal is to try to get as many guys 10 seconds behind you as you can, because then they can't come to pit road, Kim.
As we look at Anthony Alfredo, he is currently running 4th on kind of the same strategy as William Byron. Last in on lap 28. When I talked to him before the race, he said, we have to do something different strategy-wise in order to get good finishes, track position, and in some cases, even set ourselves up their win. He said smaller teams like theirs and the lack of resources they had, they're amplified at tracks like Pocono and Michigan. So this is where they really have to lean into the strategy car. And Marty, right now, he said that balance just a little bit free here on lap 45.
So, Kim, the playbook will tell you lap 52 is when you can pit and make it to the end of this race. But, Steve, how much are teams and crew chiefs willing to gamble here and maybe come a little bit before that and push the window just a little bit and maybe come at 50 or so, or that might be a little bit too much here at Pocono? Can I throw one more thing into the mix, Steve, you got to consider? Yes, that is rain. Yes, it is coming. And yes, it's about 25 minutes out or so. So there's a lot of talk about that storm right there with red in it, which would obviously mean lightning and thunder, that it could get here before the end of the race. So why not throw that into the mix? I mean, it wouldn't be a race weekend for us if there's not some rain around, right?
Well, what the rain would do is that the cars that just pitted at 42 can run all the way to lap 80. They can run within 10 laps of the finish of this race. So, you know, you don't want to do that. But here's what happens. People pit and don't lose a lap. When they go back on the racetrack, if you haven't pitted and the caution comes out, every one of those cars are going to stay out and restart in front of you. That's basically this whole quandary you're in as a crew chief. It's when do you come to pit road? Now, as a driver, it's real simple. Let's start by not messing up this restart. Let's keep the track position we have. So, Jeff, that's on you.
You think that's simple, do you?
No, but that's not my job.
One of the best to do it, and he does it on Sundays, is on the outside of row 1. That's William Byron driving the 17. Sam Mayer on the inside of row 1. And green flag is back out. Two by two. They go down into turn 1. And now they're 4 and 5 wide in the back. And a couple cars up into the wall. One of those is the 43 of Ryan Ellis. The most damage, it looks like, is from the 43. Caution comes back out. Brendan Poole is involved in the 44. We saw the 07 of Patrick Emmerling go by. I'm not sure if he had some issues with this.
Well, we talk about the restarts and how aggressive you have to be. And then, of course, the rain coming, that makes you have to be that much more aggressive. You see back in the pack, things kind of got stacked up right there. Jeff Burton, the 27, the 11 of Williams underneath him. And then, you know, the 3 wide, 4 wide going into the corner. Contact with the 31. Up the racetrack he goes.
Saw the 42 of Leland Honeyman also collected in that, the 19-year-old.
It's been that type of year for the 31 of Parker Utzloff. Just you name it. If there's a wreck at any point, whether it's their doing or somebody else's, it seems like a Jordan Anderson racing car, either the 27 or the 31's in it. Now that one I'm going to put on the 31. He kind of got loose at the bottom, but just not been a great year for the organization.
And Ryan Ellis, when he made contact with the wall, he was being pushed up into the wall with the car underneath him. They hurt. Those are the ones that you really feel with that car pushing you into the wall. One of the biggest wrecks I ever had would look just like that. Couldn't believe how hard it hit. And this is just, you know, again, they all got stacked up. On this straightaway, it's so long and it's so wide, it gives people an opportunity to make moves, and it gives people an opportunity to make mistakes. And if the front rows or mid rows lose momentum, then that means the runs behind them are gaining momentum. Well, what do you do with that momentum? Where do you put the race car? If you slow down, somebody's going to put you 3 or 4 wide. Many times you end up being aggressive and you didn't even really want to be, but you have to be. You almost have to be on offense, because if not, you're going to get run over.
This rain is really, look, I don't think it's going to like catastrophically end this race 30 laps early, but they're only like 10 laps short of the finish. So if there's a chance that the race can be shortened by 10 laps, it really changes what your plan is.
Yeah, no lights here at Pocono either, so if it were to rain, there's a huge racetrack.
Hey, Rick, I was lucky enough to win one in 07, and all it did was rain in the tunnel.
You're right.
There was one corner wet. Luckily, there was no wet tires back then, and one corner was enough.
Well, you said how many times when we come here, we're going down the back straightaway, we can see it raining in 3, and it's not raining anywhere else.
Looking like a few people are going to make their way onto pit road now.
I hate this decision, right? You're coming to 42 to go. You can run 38. You're only 4 laps short. There's no telling how many yellows you have. Kim.
And as we talked about, Anthony Alfredo, he is in right now. They're going to go ahead and put 4 fresh Goodyear tires in that, as well as Sunoco fuel. A little slow there on the right side. You see the chassis adjustment. And they're going to, again, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, Marty.
How about this move from Jim Pullman? And it's going to be fuel only for that race team. That'll make this next stop a little bit shorter. But, Steve, does that surprise you? The 7 came down pit road, fuel only.
No, not at all. I think he realizes where he's at in track position. He needs to do something. And you mentioned the next stop being shorter. I'm not sure there's going to be a next stop. We get enough yellows, maybe he can stretch it.
choice.
Yeah, I totally agree. But, Jeff, we talk a lot about Xfinity Series developing talent behind the wheel. Think about Brandon McSwain right here. Greg Ives, so much success on top of the pit box. Chad Knaus in the Hall of Fame, 7-time champ. Think about developing potential crew chiefs down the road and being able to build them homegrown inside the company. I think that's what this 17 car also does for Hendrick.
And look at what Joe Gibbs Racing has done with there's so much talent that came through their Xfinity program into their Cup program today.
William Byron on the outside in the 17. Jesse Love in the 2. On the inside as they get back up to speed, and 40 laps to go. Big run by Love as they go into turn number 1.
Oh, Allmendinger in that 16 is really entering low. I don't think he can make it.
Nope, not going to make it. Allmendinger slides sideways. Is he going to keep it straight? He doesn't get hit from behind, and that's an amazing accomplishment, and they stay green.
Yeah, still green. That is a huge disadvantage for Allmendinger.
Love was able to make the pass on William Byron. So Love is out front. Then Byron, Hill, Mayer, and Custer top 5. Allmendinger threw it into turn number 1. He was.
Look at Allmendinger on the very bottom of the racetrack. The problem is the angle of entry into the corner. He got so low on the entry that look where he is on the racetrack. Well, he's essentially now, when he gets to the corner, he's going straight. There's no way the car's going to turn entering that low. Great job saving the race car. The problem again, Steve, is if he doesn't make that move, somebody does it to him. And that's the situation you get into here on restarts.
3 wide. Marty.
As a result of that, Rick, Riley Herbst has a little left rear smoke. He was the top of 3 wide there on the 98, and he has that left rear smoke. So, Jeff, how do you feel it out as a driver to know, hey, we're okay to stay out or we have to come to pit road?
It's just smell. That's all you can do. You can see smoke sometimes. You can smell it. You know, how long do I smell the smoke? Does it continue lap after lap? You can see it coming out of the back of the car. It's just rubbing the quarter panel. He probably can't see that smoke, but he can certainly smell it. And you just have to hope it goes away. And if it doesn't, you have a very difficult decision to make.
You're talking about the 98 of Herbst. A little bit of tire rub there. Still, you see the smoke. At what point in time does it cut that tire?
Hopefully you pit right before that. You see right here, final pit window open. We believe from here everyone can make it or really close to making it on fuel. So it wouldn't shock me if we start to see some guys kind of come to pit road. They might trickle in. I'm not sure it's going to be a huge wave like we would see in a cup race. Everybody comes together. This could be more like a trickle, especially with that rain coming. That might change people's opinion on if they need to even come.
He's 81 of Chandler Smith. He's got a fast race car, but anytime someone gets on the outside of him, his car is really loose. He's not able to complete passes. Didn't get by Creed there, but now he's got to go back to work. Let's listen to Algar.
Get a look at all the lugs, make sure they're all tight. Big vibration.
Oh, no, remember, this is a team that came for gas only. So this is from a couple pit stops ago as we see the 16 of Allgaier after that big slide. Probably needing some tires, Kim.
We actually said the tires felt okay, but they decided since they were already towards the back, they would take their last pit stop first. He said, I'm in a 4-wheel slide. That was before we saw that spin. A little tight on exit. Kept getting worse as the run went on, as you see those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel for A.J. Allmendinger.
That was so well said by Kim. Last pit stop first. So that means as we see the 31 with a flat tire. Now this may bring somebody to pit road if they think the yellow's going to come out. I would be calling my guy to pit road if I could make it. The problem is, can you communicate in time? See, these guys are just a little bit different. On Sunday, I think it would be a full pit road. They are jackals on Sunday, Rick. They pounce on every opportunity.
17 car. William Byron got underneath Jesse Love off of 3. Now Jesse Love back to the bottom.
Crossover move for Love, and can he take the lead back? William Byron still has the advantage. And right behind them, Austin Hill in the 21. What
What a battle for the lead right here.
Oh, here comes Hill. He looks to the inside of that 17.
Yeah, William Byron was trying. He got into the corner high, tried to cross underneath the two. He could not do it because Austin Hill was there. Now Austin Hill battling for the lead.
And a little bit of slide out of Hill, and that opens the door for Byron to take the lead back.
That was great racing.
Look at this.
Here comes a run out of Love. And Love's going to go by, and those are teammates, the 2 and the 21. Love tries to clear Austin Hill, can't do it as they go through 1, and they're bringing Cole Custer into the mix.
Yeah, there you go. That's the momentum we talked about. The 2 of Love, he just could not carry enough speed on the exit of the corner, lost momentum, and that allowed Custer to take the spot.
Byron Hill, Custer, Love, Mayer, the top 5. So Steve, 35 laps to go. Weather looming and possibly coming. At what point in time do you gamble and say, I've got to come to pit road so that I have enough to get it all the way to the end if the weather doesn't get here in time?
Well, I think, you know, I thought we'd have seen cars pit already. So I believe these crew chiefs think that weather might actually affect this race with 35 laps to go. So you don't want to give up your opportunity. And with racing like this at the front, I'm glad they don't. I'd like to see this battle between the 17, the 21, the 00.
Yeah, remember, William Byron on older tires trying to hold off Austin Hill. Decal coming off of the Austin Hill car. See on the hood right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, decal's coming up.
A little extra downforce?
I don't think that's the downforce you want. Actually, that's a tape. They actually had taped it down at some point.
Yeah, some repair work from earlier or something.
Yeah, that's over the hood.
That might be your caution whenever that is blows onto the racetrack.
Byron.
I'm sorry, Rick. I was going to say that's one reason why NASCAR doesn't allow you to add body panels anymore, because that's what ended up happening, right? They blow off and we'd end up with a bunch of debris over there.
Byron has about a 4-car length lead over Austin Hill now. So they go down into turn 1. Cole Custer up to 3rd. Let's take a look at the Toyota driver updates as Chandler Smith leads those Toyota drivers with a 6th place. Sheldon Creed in 9th. Really good run again for Corey Heim. He's 10th. Taylor Gray 13th, and Ryan Truex in 14th. Under 33 to go, and William Byron, we know he has to come to pit road. He was last on pit road at lap 27. So 30 laps complete for Byron, but again, some of those, quite a few of those have been cautioned. Marty.
Hey, Rick, I just checked in with Andy Street, the crew chief for Austin Hill, and I asked him the question you just asked Steve a moment ago. I said, is everybody not pitting because they're too worried about the weather? He said, I think so. So, Steve, is this a game of who blinks first and who trusts their radar the most?
Oh, absolutely. The challenge I see is, forget A.J. Allmendinger. Is easy to say because he almost spun out, but he pitted and he's running a half a second faster than the leaders every lap. A little bit maybe new tires, but I think it's just clean air because he's out in front of the leaders, as we see a big slide right here. So while I think that's helping Allmendinger's race, it's not going to make his whole day because he almost spun out. But if someone else would pit and get into that clean air, how fast could they run? So I do agree, Marty. This is kind of like, you don't have to worry about pitting if no one pits. The fear becomes if you see a wave come to pit road, then you're going to have to show your hand.
Wonder if there's some communication right now with the 17 team about that strategy. Listen in.
I think the weather's fine. Not concerned about it anymore currently. Copy on the weather.
Well, if that's the case, then we should see him on pit road.
Yeah, so, you know, when I look at Allmendinger, for instance, he was the last car after that big slide. And right now, with the speed he's running, he's going to cycle back to like 14th or 15th when they all pit. That's way better than he was running. So, you know, the clean air is working for him.
They're watching closely to the radar, hoping that that little cell might go to the south of the racetrack and not affect this one with now under 31 laps to go. Riley Herbst running 7th. Chandler Smith is 8th. Sheldon Creed 9th and Allgaier 10th.
If this thing comes down to a green flag pit stop, I take the pit crew on the 21 any day over anybody in the Xfinity Series. They are the best, and it's not close.
We're seeing Sheldon Creed on pit road now in the 18. Marty.
Like this call by Sam McCauley, a lot of teams considering coming to pit road. He brings Sheldon Creed down pit road, and man, after starting on the pole, they have struggled with the handling of this 18 car all day long. Finally hits his pit stall. They haven't gotten that tight condition on corner exit really fixed all day long for Sheldon Creed and his race team. But Steve, the first one to pit road here, will he drag more? That's the question.
That is the question. And what does Allgaier do? You know, Allgaier is only basically 5 seconds behind the leader, running great laps. I think he has, well, we know he has a little bit more fuel on board because he came later. You know, does he let them all pit and then just save gas? You can just slow down at that point. You can run tremendously off the pace, as now we see another car, the 2. Jesse Love will take the left. Like I said, it's a little bit of a trickle. It's not quite a big wave like we see in other races, Kim.
Yeah, and the call by crew chief Danny Stockman for Jesse Love is going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires, 2 rounds up on the track bar, as well as Sunoco fuel. Having a great day after having to start from the rear.
So I was wondering how many, remember this was the radio, we heard that they might do 2 tires on. I like the 4-tire call. I just think there's enough race. I gotta go get that tire though and bring it back. And these are the things that just, as a crew chief, you get so frustrated. You can do all the strategy you want, but if you cannot execute, it doesn't matter. No good calls make up for it. Now look, there are times the pit crew's on and the crew chief makes a bad call. It's team sport, but the frustration level definitely peaks when the execution's an issue.
Here comes the 17, William Byron.
Now this will raise interest. This one right here will create a lot of interest in the field, Kim.
And here is Cole Custer again. Their strategy kind of were put to bed at the last caution because they ended up calling it audible. I thought it was going to be a 1 stop for the rest of the race, so you're seeing the 2nd stop. And Cole Custer's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. They'll make sure to get that full, Marty.
Brandon McSwain making the call to bring William Byron down pit road. Bottom of your screen. So the car just a little bit too free. Very small air pressure adjustment. And yes, this should open the floodgates. The leader coming down pit road. I see a lot of teams scurrying. It's going to be busy next time by.
Nice work by the 00 right there. Jumped in front of the 17 off pit road.
So right now, though, the 17, he knows his job is to get by Custer. He has to assume this is the race for the lead. Go take the fight to him.
Penalty for the 2. We saw them go and get that tire. Well, because it crossed over into the center of pit road, that is still an uncontrolled tire, so that's going to really hurt the 2. And now you see all the cars continue to come to pit road. Kim.
And we'll follow the stop of Chandler Smith in the 81 car. He said it needs a little bit more front turn. He's been battling that all race long. He does have a little bit better lateral security in the rear, though, Marty.
Austin Hill's team under the last caution stop to Jeff's point a moment ago. Gained them 3 spots here on pit road. Let's see what they can do with a green flag stop. So the car's just a little bit too free. He lost his left side mirror. That's his biggest issue inside the car. Riley Herbst there at the very front end of pit road said, quote, the car feels incredible. Now let's watch the blend with these guys where William Byron is.
See the 00, to your point, still gapping the 17.
And also, they all beat the 21 out. So they pitted, the 21 pitted a little bit later than they did. So those cars got on newer tires sooner, were able to make lap time. So it's a little risky to pit early.
Too fast entering for Riley Herbst, so he has a pass-through penalty.
Again, you talked about it, Steve. You have to execute these green flag pit stops. You know, in the Xfinity Series, they have green flag pit stops for sure, but not at near the level that they do in Cup. So drivers have to, they don't get a chance to practice as much at this level. But this guy right here, it's going to be interesting to see, Steve. Remember, they pitted on lap 48. Everybody around him 42, Sammy Smith 48, Brandon Jones 48. Can they stretch it from here?
Well, listen in.
10-4, we're committed to our game. I need 100 foot.
Yep, and I think this is going to work. It's a long ways.
So here's the thing. I need 100 feet. That means wherever you think you need to lift, I need you to get out of the gas 100 feet sooner. Perhaps even get into the gas 100 feet later, right? I'm not exactly sure because every team, this is something we talk about ahead of time, right, Jeff, on how we want to save fuel. But 100 feet, Marty, the 7 car, in my opinion, we're not going to see him back on pit road unless something dramatically changes.
And Steve, the back end of that conversation is that they were 3 laps short. So here's the question, can you save 3 laps of fuel during a run here? Clearly Jim Pullman was on the front end of it, telling him how much he needed his driver to lift.
Absolutely. With 25 laps to go, I think you can find 3 laps, no problem. You can't find it in 10 laps, but in 25, I think you can.
I hope they started saving soon enough. That's what I don't know.
Good point.
Sieg still out front here at Pocono. Strategy of trying to stay out on the racetrack because a caution potentially could come out here.
Or make it. Because if he gets all those yellows, he's going to save enough gas, and then he's way good.
But it brings everybody close together.
Yeah, but I think he's not worried about pace. I think he has more than enough pace in his car. He's more worried about fuel than pace. So I think if you're Jim Pullman right here, I think you're almost okay if the yellow comes out.
And it does. So the 35 was stopped. Stephen Milazzi was stopped on the backstretch, and this is not the way he wanted his first Xfinity Series start to end.
So to your point, Rick, you know, they have a little fresher tires, but Cole Custer's all the way back in 14th. So what's really going to be interesting is I think there's a lot of guys that are going to pit. Cole Custer's going to restart like 6th. So now the 7 has to hope he can save enough gas here, or he can run hard when it's time to go with Cole Custer behind him, because he's not going to be able to save gas and hold off the 00.
Yeah, that's right. If I was driving the 00, only thing I needed to know is how slow can I go and them not pass me. That's all I needed to know before this caution came out. Now that this caution has come, now that this caution has come out, I'm confused. Now what do? If I'm Allgaier, do I go as hard as I need to go here? What do? Do we have enough fuel to go this distance? So my job in the 7 just got way more complicated. Before, it was pretty simple, Steve. Just don't let the 00 come catch me. I'm going to go that slow.
Well, if I'm this man right here.
Look at the glass half full. This is going to help our fuel mileage, and we will control the start.
There you go. That's the spotter, Eddie DeHunt, and that's exactly what I was going to say. I'm going to clear it up for you, Jeff. I'm going to say, hey, save as much as you can during this yellow. And when we go back green, I need you to race. And if we run out of gas, because we might get more yellows, we might get all this, just go hard. And look, we still got 20 laps to go in this race. Well, I'll give you an update in 6 or 8 laps after we see how well we do on the restart.
And he can't pit here.
No.
Because there's 32 cars in the lead lap. I'm sorry, there's 28 cars in the lead lap. So he can't pit because then you would never win the race. So they have made their decision. They're going to have to see it through.
And it's not just them. We have the 9 of Brandon Jones, who's also on the same strategy, the 8 of Sammy Smith. So it's a junior motorsports basket at the moment.
Marty.
Yeah, let's chat with Jim Pullman. So on one hand, that helps your fuel situation. On the other hand, you just lost a massive gap. Was this caution good or bad?
I don't know. It depends on how this thing plays out. Yeah, I think he's, you know, the 00 still buried back there, the first one on tires and fuel. He's I don't know, what, 13th, I think. So, yeah, it hurts in that aspect. I hope all these guys stay out with us now that we've made our bed. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Car-wise, you've had enough car, but tire-wise, is that your big concern with the 00?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get through there pretty quick on traffic. Hopefully this clean air keeps us out there and really puts us in a good situation.
All right, there go Jim Pullman. So, Steve, aren't you glad this is a day when you're glad you're not on top of the pit box, isn't it? Because that sort of helped, it sort of hurt, but you got to leave your driver out at this point if you're Pullman.
I don't know, Marty. I get asked all the time, do you miss it? A lot of Sundays I don't, but this Saturday I do. This is what I love the most, was trying to figure out this chess match of fuel. The problem is on the left side, all the 48s I think will stay on the racetrack, but all the 42s I think are going to have to pit. So Williams, Burton, SVG, Weatherman, Sieg, Dye, I think all of those really have to pit. I mean, if they stay out, I just don't see the pathway forward. They're really short on gas. So that means Custer isn't going to start 13th. I think he's going to start like 7th. Which is making this challenge for the 7 even tougher. But let's not forget, he drove off and won stage 1. He drove off and hit. So he, you know, the only reason he's working the strategy is because he got behind with that pit penalty.
What we don't know is how fast can he go, because he was saving fuel.
Right.
So it's hard to compare his pace of what the guys that had, but you know, you didn't know. So you're going to have to find out.
Neither did Jim Pullman. He didn't know how fast they could go either.
Exactly. I mean, that's the question. Now here come all those guys coming down pit road.
The 9 is the one that, see, I thought he was going to stay on this strategy with the 7. That is really hurting the 7 to see all these guys pit, Kim.
And Steve, I thought the 9 was going to stay out too. In fact, at first, Philip Bell, the crew chief, said, I think our best bet is to stay out. And then upon talking to this driver, decided they did need to stop. Brandon saying really secure entry to center, but lacking front turn everywhere. So you're going to see them put 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Marty, as the 11 is in as well. Yeah,
after a 12th place finish in Chicago last week was a decent run so far today for Josh Williams, trying to play the strategy. They were going to have to come down pit road anyway, as Steve mentioned a moment ago. But Kevin Walter comes and calls him down pit road here. The tires and the fuel to make it to the end for Josh Williams.
So the race off pit road. And again, a few cars stayed out. Allgaier, Burton, then Gisbergen, Sammy Smith. Steve, you mentioned that you miss days like this. Let's remind you of how much fun you had. This was 10 years ago, and you crew chiefing for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And you knew the second you guys left your pit stall and got back out onto the racetrack, because of this reaction that we see right here from you, how this was going to end.
Well, we knew pretty well. We knew the trick was you had to find your way to the front, and we had already planned that week that could you take 4 tires under caution, come back just a few laps later to top it off on fuel. We had done a lot of work on how far back we would be running after a few laps of green flag. We had this super colorful matrix trying to figure out, and we decided to come pit under yellow, put tires on, go out. We only ran 5 or 6 green flag laps. Came and took fuel only, while the 24 needed to take tires. We knew how much faster our stop would be. It was just a question of could we stay close enough. And once I saw us pass the 24 who was leaving pit road after his pit stop, we had a great car that day. Dale Jr. wasn't going to give up the lead. We knew it was kind of all sails in the wind, and that's where the confidence of the point was that nobody was going to pass us. That was the sweep of the year. This place is so much fun when you get it right, but I'm going to tell you, I'm lucky we don't have all those highlights where I drop my head in my hands thinking, what have I thought, because I've been on the absolute wrong side of it.
Well, we'll wait. We'll wait to show those. if Allgaier chooses the wrong strategy here.
Well, it's going to be tough because it would be a great battle heads up between the 7 and the 00, but it's not really heads up. The 7 has a little bit older tire, not dramatically older, about 10 lap older tires. And we're going to hope fuel at this point, Jeff, has to be a non-concern, even though it may run out. The driver can't worry about it. He has to just try to go as fast as he can.
Yeah, you just got to tell me what to do, right? I mean, the crew chief just has to say, hey, look, just you got to set the strategy for me at this point. But all these cautions, we're still not going back green here. All these cautions are helping.
Such a beautiful view here, and I want to thank this aerial coverage brought to us by Shady Rays. What a shot there that we have seen, and the fans love the racing here at Pocono. Tomorrow, expecting the grandstands to be completely full.
I'm going to tell you, I have a couple buddies for this race, and they were walking around out front, and they instantly said, look, it feels like a Cup Sunday out here. Said the midway was packed, T-shirt trailers, it just has this feel, this big feel even on Saturday.
Kim.
And Jonathan Tony's the one that calls the shots for Cole Custer. Your driver is the first with the freshest tires and the most fuel. How optimistic are you guys? And what are you telling Cole right now?
Yeah, we're just getting him up to date, what's going on, what everybody in front of us has got for tires. Been a crazy day, but we knew that going into it, it's going to be crazy. So we put our man in a position, got him on some good tires, and so we'll see what happens.
Speaking of crazy, restarts can be wild here at Pocono. Do you want to see your driver be extra aggressive or maybe a little cautious here?
No, you got to go for it now. It's down at the end of the race, and so, we come here to win, so that's what we want to do. So, yeah, we're going to throw caution to the wind, I guess, and see what happens.
All right, you heard it. Cole has got the freedom to go for it here on this restart. This team's still looking for their first win of 2024.
And remember, Ford is looking for their first win of 2024. So Custer, the closest one to the front right now.
So you got the 7 and the 8 and the 5. We have Allgaier, Sammy Smith, and Alfredo, the front 3. Stretching fuel, stretching tires. Behind them, Custer, Byron, Hill, Mayer, Creed. I mean, it is quite a stacked group.
We've talked a lot about the situation the 7's in. You just said it, the 8. Sammy Smith, he's in the same exact situation. The difference being that Sammy Smith, he is the last car currently in the playoffs. If you look at points by, he has about a 30-point advantage. If he would have run out of fuel trying to make this work and give up all of those points, that could be a catastrophic day for him. On the other side, if this strategy gets him in victory lane, that locks him into the playoffs. But they have a lot on the that they're gambling with right now with that car.
So there you see, this is exactly what you were talking about right there. Sammy Smith, first guy above that red line. Yep.
I don't know that they have a choice but to see it through at this point. And, chances are we're going to get another caution. We talk about how wild these restarts are. It won't surprise me a bit to get at least one more caution. That would help their situation.
We heard from his crew chief. Now let's hear from the driver of the 00.
Who are the ones in front of me, and what's their situation? Yeah, looks like the 7, the 5, and the 8 are all on the same strategy. So they've got probably 25 laps on their tires. 10-4.
All right, so Jeff, put me behind the wheel of the 00 here. The 5 of Alfredo in front, doing a nice job today. But I think Cole has to be thinking 3 wide. He has to think, let's take this front row 3 wide into 1.
Well, he has to be thinking 3 wide, because if he's not, I know the 21 behind him is. And so the best way to keep somebody from making you 3 wide is to make it 3 wide on the guy in front of you. So Custer has to be looking in that mirror. We know how aggressive Austin Hill is, but the same on the outside lane. I think Allgaier's got to be thinking the same thing. It's easier on the outside to prevent that from happening as far as them coming out of you, coming around the outside of you. But this inside, I promise you, it's going to be 3 and maybe 4 wide getting into 1.
It'll be 16 laps to go.
Remember Allmendinger, he's got his track position back. He had that big slide. By making it 3 wide or 4 wide, he'll certainly be trying it again.
Back out in front of the grandstands. Allgaier. Anthony Alfredo. Back into the gas they go. And a great restart by Allgaier. Let's see if he can have this advantage when he gets to 1. They slide out of line. Here comes Cole Custer, 3 wide on the inside for second.
Alfredo doing a great job in that second lane, keeping Custer side by side with him, and that's what Allgaier needs.
Here comes Custer. He's got the advantage and the momentum as they go into turn 2. He's going to clear the 5. Now he has second.
That's going to make the task.
Oh, the slide. The 51 of Jeremy Clements. Caution comes back out. And another restart. And this has got to help Allgaier as far as fuel. But he has Cole Custer right next to him.
I think it's so well said, Rick, right? We thought it was kind of a coin flip earlier. Now this is without a doubt what he needs for fuel. Now it's all just how fast can the 7 be. I think this will get him there on fuel. Now, can his little bit older tires hold off the 00 who made that restart look pretty easy on the bottom? Jeremy Clements right there in the middle, 3 wide. Couldn't tell if there was contact. Well, I see the donut on the right side door. So I wonder if the 98 who was at the top maybe tried to squeeze him down a little bit. Or maybe he was already spinning. It's really hard to tell.
He was 26th.
Wow, that is such a hard shot.
Yeah, it's a big impact.
I mean, that's the thing about this place. That's